The story I will tell you is not of a monster, but of a road. It is the story of my village, Kanyiso, the place of light, and the summer we forgot the rhythm of the world. My name is Thabo, and I am the keeper of the old ways, or what is left of them. Our village lived in the gentle palm of these hills for 10 generations. We knew the language of this land. The whisper of the dry grass that meant rain was 2 days off, the particular chill in the lake's breath that warned of a cold snap. And we knew, above all, the great slow rhythm that governed the deepest forces of our world. Each year, when the sun hung at its highest and fiercest, and the air grew so thick and still you could hear the humming of your own blood, the sky traveller would begin his journey. Inkanyamba. We carved his likeness on the shrine stone on the hill, a serpent of the clouds, with wings of storm and a body of living wind. He was not a god to be worshipped, nor a demon to be feared. He was a fact as certain as the tide. His was an ancient longing, a drive as old as the mountains to find his mate in the deep, cold heart of our lake. His passage was the great storm of high summer. My grandfather taught me how to listen for his approach.
You will feel it here on your chest, little one. It is a tightening, like the string of a bow being drawn.
We did not curse his coming. We prepared. We tied our roofs with strong, seasoned rope. We gathered the last of the early harvest a week before the winds were due. We moved our best boats from the shore. We were not hiding from a predator. We were respectfully stepping aside for a king, or better yet, for a great and powerful river that had chosen its course long before our first hut was built. But time has a way of softening memory into myth and turning myth into children's stories. My son Luca grew tall on my tales, but his heart was shaped by different dreams. He saw a world not of cycles, but of lines, of progress, of yield, of control. He saw the wide, shallow channel where the reeds grew thick, the very place where my grandfather said the spirits of air and water danced, and he saw unused land. He saw the lake's edge where we never built, and he saw wasted opportunity. The year of the forgetting, Luca, now a man with a vision that commanded others, led the change. With strong backs and hopeful hearts, the people cleared the reed beds. The air was filled with the smell of crushed green sap and fresh-turned earth. They planted maize where the protective reeds had stood, right up to the lip of the water. And most boldly of all, they built a strong fence of tall posts, driven deep into the lake bed, creating a sheltered enclosure for new, larger boats. It was a proud, straight line imposed upon the gentle curve of the shore. When I walked down to see it, my feet sank into the soft, exposed mud, and I felt a sickness that had nothing to do with age. I told Luca he had built a wall across a sacred road. He smiled his gentle, impatient smile and placed a firm hand on my shoulder. "Father," he said, "the old stories keep us children. That storm last season damaged a roof. We will build stronger roofs. We will use this water, this land. We will not live in fear of a shadow." He spoke of abundance, of security, of a future he could hold in his hands. I looked at the shrine on the hill, its carvings now seeming small and distant against the scale of his new fields, and I had no words heavy enough to bridge the gap between his world and mine. Then the air changed. It was a subtle thing at first. The birdsong turned brittle. The goats grew restless at dusk. A deep, warm silence settled over the hills, a silence so complete it seemed to press on the ears. And I felt it, that old familiar tightening in my bones, the string of the bow drawing taut. I sat outside my hut and watched the western horizon. Luca saw only the promise of rain for his thirsty crops and ordered the last baskets of maize to be brought in from the lakeside fields. The first sign was a hum. It began below hearing, a vibration in the stones, in the roots of the teeth. Then the wind began, not a gust, but a sigh, a long, hot, weary sigh from the heart of the continent. On the horizon, over the distant peaks, the clouds did not gather. They coiled. They spun themselves into a dark, towering pillar, moving with a purpose that ordinary storms do not possess. It was beautiful. It was terrible. And it moved in a straight, unwavering line toward our lake. Panic, when it came, was a silent, wide-eyed thing for a moment before it broke into shouts and running. People scrambled for the high ground and the older huts. But Luca, my brave, foolish Luca, ran toward the lake. His eyes were on his boats, his fence, his testament to progress, now directly in the path of the towering cloud. I tried to call him back, but my voice was a feather in the gale. Then the storm was upon the lake. The water at the far shore erupted in a boil of white, and within the swirling wall of cloud and rain and spray, I saw him, Inkanyamba. It was only for a heartbeat, a suggestion of a colossal, graceful form, a curve of darkness within the chaos, wings of tumultuous cloud beating once, with a world-shifting rhythm. He was not looking at our village. His gaze, if such a force could be said to have a gaze, was fixed on the deep, dark center of the water. His song was the roar of the wind, but within it was that same deep hum, now a mournful, majestic bass note of absolute longing. The storm touched our shore, but it did not wander. It did not slash at the village. It followed its intended road with the precision of a needle following a thread. And Luca's fence, his proud wall across the sacred channel, was the thread's obstruction. The wind did not rage against it, it simply passed through. The stout posts were plucked from the lake bed like rotten teeth. The new boats were lifted, tossed, and shattered like toys. Then, with nothing left to block it, the furious wind swept across the over-cultivated fields. The topsoil, stripped of the anchoring reeds that had held it for centuries, rose in a great groaning phantom of dust, leaving behind nothing but naked, scarred clay. As quickly as it had arrived, the storm's heart passed over the deepest part of the lake. The shadow within the clouds seemed to soften, to descend, to merge with the water. The violent rotation slowed. The wind's scream faded to a moan, then to a whisper. A strange, holy calm descended, broken only by the soft pattering of the last rain and the distant sound of weeping. Dawn revealed the truth. The old village was bruised, roofs torn, a tree fallen, but it stood. The destruction was not random. It was surgical. The fence was gone. The channel was scoured clean and open, wider than before. The fields by the lake were a waste of mud and stubble. Luca stood in the center of it, not moving, coated in fine grey dust. He was not looking at the ruin. He was staring at the open water, at the clear, unobstructed path from the hills to the lake's heart. I went to him. We stood in the mud together for a long time, listening to the returning birds. Finally, I spoke, my voice rough. He did not come for us, my son. He came for the deep water. We did not listen. We built a wall across his only road home. Luca did not look at me. A single track cut through the dust on his cheek. He slowly nodded, and when he finally spoke, it was the sound of a man understanding a fundamental and costly truth. We thought the story was about a monster, he whispered. It was about the road. That was the year we remembered our part in the song. We rebuilt, but differently. We replanted the reeds along the shore, tenderly, as if nursing a wound. We left the channel open. We scaled back the fields, giving the lake its breathing space. Now, when the heavy air of summer returns, we still prepare. We tie down our roofs. We gather our harvest early. But we also go to the hillside shrine and place a smooth stone from the river, an offering of remembrance. And when the first hot wind blows, we stop our work and we listen. We listen not with fear, but with the respect one gives to a powerful and beautiful piece of music. For it is not a threat we hear approaching. It is a love song, the oldest love song in the world, simply passing through on its eternal necessary way home.